welcome back to Atypical Talk. This is a podcast where we have conversations that illuminate the intersection of faith, culture, and the common spaces of our humanity. I'm Abby.
I'm Joel.
I'm Kenton.
And next week is Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to it, but what is your guys' favorite thing about Thanksgiving? It can be food, it can be watching football, whatever it is.
Well, it's how food motivated I am, because the first thing I think of is food, and I think of the sides.
Yes.
Like, it's about all the different kind of sides. And so, I'm actually a fan of the green bean casserole. Do you guys think that's disgusting?
Nope.
I like green bean casserole.
Look at this. I feel
it's
like we
not
might be
like
the
my
minority.
favorite,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah. And then, what are some of the other sides that you guys like?
I like stuffing and I like cranberry.
Cranberry.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are classics.
Noodles. I make noodles
Like,
every year.
what does
Chicken
that mean?
and noodles?
Like egg noodles.
Egg noodles?
Yeah, or like, like Amish noodles, whatever you want to, like different people use different noodles. But, and then, we'll put a little chicken in it. That's like the only
Indiana,
time I crack
baby.
open a can of chicken.
Yeah.
Ooh, a can of chicken. Yes. That
Not
is awesome.
soup. It's like thick batch of noodles. But that's my favorite part.
Yeah. Or corn casserole. That's another
love
good
corn
one.
Too,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I don't care about turkey.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys do? Some families don't do turkey.
Yeah,
so
we're always turkey, and I'm gonna get in trouble by saying whose turkey is my favorite in the family.
Oh, you do multiple turkeys.
No, I'm just saying it rotates sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
The years that my brother has made the turkey, that's good. When Grandma's made it, maybe not.
Grandma, I'm so sorry if you're listening. So I think about the food, but I will say this, that my oldest son Jack is obsessed with football, and he's been talking about doing a real game in Mimi and Poppy's backyard during Thanksgiving. So and I'm his head coach of his team, the Eagles. And he's all in about the Eagles. But anyway, I'm thinking about football a lot too. With him.
You're not going to be able to watch the actual game.
No,
you got to watch
that's
Jack's.
actually what would happen. Like, why would we watch when we could be playing in the backyard and get tackling your dad?
Yeah.
So that'd be that.
Our one tradition that we have is we always watch the dog show.
Yeah, the dog show is great.
I love watching that, and we always
Westminster, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't even know the name.
We always try to guess which dog's gonna win, and
I mean, I do love the
time.
parade.
Yeah,
the Macy's Day.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, because it's always on.
A lot of lip syncing.
Yeah. I mean, it's all fake and not real, and made up. But it's always on because we don't go over quite yet in the morning, so you kind of like wake up, get ready, and like it's on TV. But the dog show's great. I think honestly, TV is kind of A+ on Thanksgiving.
It is.
It's just kind of on in the background,
and it's all events.
Yeah, and it's things that you kind of have an interest in. I mean, growing up, we used to go bowling on Thanksgiving.
Really?
That was a thing.
Yeah, so it was a whole
Thanksgiving.
thing too, because we used to do bowling, but we would start with Wii bowling.
Okay.
And then my cousin would hand out a trophy that he made that was like, you were the winner of Wii bowling. And then after that, it was like, okay, game time, real bowling now. And so, we would go to like a bowling alley.
That's awesome.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's
it was a whole thing.
Yeah, and I'm just grateful I didn't grow up in a family or marry into a family that does like a 5K on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
Some of my siblings have adopted that, and I'm like, no, thank you, I'm good.
Turkey trot.
Good for you as you trot.
Yep.
Good for you. But
Yep. So our first topic today, it's a Christianity Today article released last Thanksgiving titled, "I Give Thanks in the Bright Darkness." In the months following her miscarriage, author Christina Gonzalez Ho experienced a profound shift in her perception of the world. Drawing on C.S. Lewis's phrase, "The sun is darkened in my eyes," she describes how grief cast a veil over everything, making even the brightest autumn leaves and sunlight appear dim. This personal loss occurred just before Thanksgiving, and despite celebrating with loved ones as usual, the holiday felt disconnected from her reality, as if happening in another dimension while she remained trapped in darkness. Her grief opened her eyes to suffering beyond her own, making her more sensitive to global pain and injustice. Yet she ultimately discovers that Thanksgiving's historical roots embrace this very tension between light and darkness. The holiday originated not as pure celebration, but as a solemn day combining Thanksgiving with repentance and acknowledgement of suffering. Through her own healing journey, she learned that giving thanks amid grief doesn't deny pain, but rather reminds us that joy and beauty coexist with suffering, expanding our capacity for hope and allowing us to recognize God's work even in the darkest moments. So what do you guys think of this story? I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very moving story in a lot of ways. appreciate how there was an honesty about the hurt and the loss that comes around the holidays. I think the holidays can be an extremely lonely time if you feel like everything has to be bright and happy and warm, and every family is like perfect cookie cutter. And then you look at your own life, and maybe there's a broken relationship around the table. Maybe there's an empty seat at the table, and it can feel so isolating. And so I appreciate so much that her perspective of giving thanks wasn't going around that pain and that grief or trying to numb that pain or grief, but it's really looking right at it and going through it to find something really beautiful on the other side, which just opened up herself to more other-centered thinking, and also to just find joy in the things that she still has. One of the dark realities, I think, of what grief can do is it can just focus everything on ourselves and all our story. And even though we shouldn't ignore ourselves and our story, life is suffocating if we're the only ones we're thinking about, and it also just makes our world so small. So I love that it expanded her to think about others' pain and pain across the globe, but also to see like there is something to be grateful for, even though there's a lot of this pain. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful perspective to like, and I love the phrase even in the title, like the bright darkness, that these two things can coexist, and they do coexist, and we should experience both throughout the pain and just the normalcy of our lives.
Yeah, I think like the bright darkness, I think this time of year in general, not just the holidays, but like that shift into like seasonal depression is just such a real feeling. And I mean, you couple that with everything you said, Joel, about just like going through loss or having family struggles or whatever it may be during the season, just makes it so exponentially harder. And, if we live in Indiana, like how much of this season is just dark in general. I mean, it could be worse. We could be further north, but like...
We're not in Alaska, but...
But I just mean rough, like it just feels so dark, especially at night when you're with your family. I don't know. It's just, for me, it hits really hard, this time of year. And, just being candid, like my father just passed away. And so like this will be the first major holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas this year without him. So I don't really know what I'm... in store for. It's been difficult enough as is. So I think, just seeing this and just remembering to be grateful through this season. I think this is so profound, this article, just because I think so many people even just go through Thanksgiving and they're like, oh, it's a, family holiday, being thankful for my family. But like every year I try and, make a mental list and just be intentional about being thankful for things over this season, because it's just so, or can be so difficult for so many people.
Yeah, I remember just the first run of holidays after losing my father and then all four of my grandparents in like succession every year for a while. And I just remember it felt like it was just heavy, and there was like a wave of grief that sort of just comes along with it. But at the same time, I remember like moments like embracing, my mom or my brother, and like knowing that they were going through it too, that there was some solidarity in that, and that we were in this together still, that it actually lent us towards gratefulness and expressing that. So as challenging as it is, like what I love about our God is that we can bring that to him, and there's more beyond what we can actually feel. It doesn't mean we like push down what we feel, but there's like more to it. And I think she brings this up so beautifully in the article. Yeah.
So we're going through a series right now called Going Through It.
Going through a series called Going Through It.
Yep. Oh, but a little bit that we've talked about is how to help people who are going through dark times. Joel, you want to talk a little bit on how you can be someone who walks alongside someone who's going through dark moments or, experiencing grief right now?
Yeah, I think it's often much simpler than we want to make it. And a lot of times we don't engage with these people because we don't know what to do, and we think it's more complicated than it actually is. But in a word or in a phrase, it's just showing up to be there. And like I think Rick Warren calls it the ministry of your presence. It's just the idea of like showing up and being there with them, and whether that's bringing comfort food to them, whether it's like having a couple hours to sit down and binge their favorite TV show with them, whether it's like helping do a load of laundry, not in a passive aggressive way, but just in a way to like lighten their load.
Yeah.
And it might just be sitting with them, and as they're talking to you and you listening really well and just telling them, yeah, this sucks. This is awful, and I'm so sorry. This sucks. I think that's just powerful to sit with them and be with them. So beyond like trying to have the great answer or the tweetable Christian phrase or the Bible verses, like let's put that aside and just be people that are with people in the midst of their hurt. Paul writes in Romans to celebrate with those who are celebrating, and to mourn with those who mourn. And I think it's uncomfortable for us, but when we sit there and we actually just cry with them and share in people's pain, it can help immensely in that moment.
Okay, on to our next topic. It's a CBS News article titled, "A Shooting Survivor Forgives the Louisiana Man Who Tried to Kill Him. Now They're Helping Others Rebuild." In 1996, Marcus Sheffin robbed Don Allison at gunpoint in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, shooting him in the leg and nearly severing a critical artery. Allison initially believed Sheffin should spend his entire life in prison, and Sheffin was sentenced to 95 years. However, during his 24-year incarceration, Sheffin made a conscious decision to change his life. He learned barbering, worked as a hospice worker, and began writing letters of remorse to Allison, demonstrating genuine accountability for his actions. A pivotal moment came when Allison's wife questioned whether he had done the right thing by opposing Sheffin's parole. This led Allison to participate in a victim offender dialogue program, where he spent 8 hours talking with Sheffin. During their conversation, Sheffin's humility and compassion deeply impressed Allison. Simultaneously, Allison was studying to become a Catholic deacon. At Sheffin's 2020 parole hearing, Allison spoke in favor of his release, declaring his forgiveness and confidence in Sheffin's transformation. Today, the two men have moved beyond their violent past to become friends and advocates working together with the Louisiana Parole Project. They now provide legal aid, education, and housing to formerly incarcerated individuals, turning a story of violence and trauma into one of redemption, forgiveness, and hope for others seeking second chances. I saw this in a video on TikTok. It was probably the longest TikTok video I've sat through. It was like a 10-minute video. but
you were captivated.
It was such a good story. What did you guys think about it?
Yeah, it's very powerful. I mean, what a powerful example of costly forgiveness and mercy. But I honestly, one of the main things that stood out to me was how this was not a flippant decision. This was something that was like a process of forgiveness, and it wasn't where somebody was taking advantage of the other person in the reconciliation period. Like, working with this organization, the victim offender dialogue program, like 8 hours in conversation, like them actually being able to talk to each other, how there was accountability for the actions of the shooter, that he took accountability for it. And, you could see the change that happened in him. And then to see how, the victim of the shooting, like his Christian faith and his training and Catholicism to become a deacon, was like feeling all the tension about stopping him from getting parole. Like all these things were like, it was not very like sudden, and it wasn't very emotional as much as it was a process of two human beings getting to know each other and hearing their story, and then the person who was a victim of the shooting giving up his right for payback in that way, for forgiveness. So I think it's really cool. I think forgiveness gets thrown around so flippantly, even in Christian circles, to where it's like, yeah, you should just forgive and forget and just like move on, like that kind of thing. And although I believe that forgiving others is paramount to what it means to being a Christian, I love how this was a process. Yeah. Sometimes people be like, will come to me and they'll be like, I know I should forgive this person, but I just can't get myself to do it. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not like a moment of like emotion, like you need this clarity in this moment. It's like sort of deciding that you're going to, and then walking a process towards it. And I love that you see the process that they worked through in this. And now they're on the road telling their story and trying to help other people. I just love that so much. It's really powerful.
Yeah. And I love the moment where it talked about how like he was determined he was not going to forgive him. And it was his wife that came and was like, hey, don't you think you should consider forgiving him? Like, you've held on to this grudge for so long, and she saw how it changed him and stuff. And
so his wife, who knew him so well, spoke into like, hey, this unforgiveness that you're holding on to, this grudge is actually harming you. Don't you want to be free from this? Yeah, that's really powerful.
What stuck out to you about it, Kenton?
I mean, the story of it's incredible. I mean, just to be able to forgive. It's great.
He just got shot in the leg. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Just a flesh wound.
I don't know.
No, not at all.
It's just crazy to me, like, to go through all of that. And I mean, I can't imagine the anger, I would feel. And the anger you feel for whatever it said. He was incarcerated for 24 years before they even began kind of the process of like speaking and stuff like that about the whole thing. It's just wild to me. And also just, I mean, the fact that he was able to, Sheffin was able to, like, turn his life around in jail, and truly commit to the, like, changing for the better when he was sentenced to almost life. I mean,
95 years.
His life,
his life,
like, and to still be like, I have nothing really to look forward to on the outside potentially ever again, or I'll be a very, very, very old man when I do. The fact that he was still willing to, like, go through the process and realize that he could better himself, is just a testament to I think, the change of character for him.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, that's ideally what every jail wants, or whatever. Well, I guess when you go to jail, is to actually, like, create a better person on the outside. It just doesn't normally happen like that. And this is, like, true rehabilitation in a way that, like,
we don't hear these stories.
Changes. Yeah. And changes not just their lives, both of them, which would be, honestly, enough of this story would just be that. But the fact that now they are going out and talking about forgiveness and all of that, like, that's something.
And maybe that's another thing, as you bring that up, that, like, I find powerful about this story is that we don't hear a lot of stories in our justice system that lead to rehabilitation of somebody. It's more of just punishment for what people did. And I mean, we could probably do a whole series of conversations about why that is in our system the way that it is. But there is something as a Christ follower that, like, wakes up in me and that, like, strikes me with joy when you hear a story of, like, somebody doing time, but in a way that actually, like, brings restoration of who they are and rehabilitation of things that are broken to where there can be hope on the other side. Like, I think that's another thing that I find to be really powerful about this story is, wow, look, it actually it doesn't have to just be about punishment. It can be about more. And that's a cool thing.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's that time of year where it's rainy and cold all the time. How do you like to spend a day like this when you can't really go out and do things?
Try to convince my kids to sit on the couch for a little bit without wrestling me, and, like, can we watch another Bluey? Snuggle, please. Even our 18-month-old right now, she does not want to, like, sit still at all. Like, she'll like sit on my lap for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever, and then she slides off and wants to run and play again. But yeah, I mean, it's inside right now. It's a lot at our house. It's watching football with the boys, mostly Jack, and then Thomas coming in and screaming about the wrong team, and it's really cute too. But that's right now. It's just blankets and cozy.
I've started to make bread.
Really?
Yeah.
Why haven't you brought us any?
No, because it's not.
Where's your sourdough starter?
No, it's not sourdough. It's not sourdough. It's just like 5 ingredient, like, bread, like sandwich bread and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what came over me, but a couple weeks ago I made some bread and I was like, and then last night, literally at, like, I don't know, 7 p.m., like around dinner time, I was like, I'm just going to make some bread right now.
It's 7.
It's got to rise for 3 hours, but it's fine. And I'll put it in the oven for 30 minutes. So anyway, I've just been diving into that.
That's so fun.
And then I love chili. So this time of year, all I can think about is eating a bowl of chili with it cold outside. But I mean, same thing. Last night, my son desperately wanted to go outside. I don't know why, but, like, I told him it was cold, but he was like, no,
I'm
outside. Yeah. So trying to stay inside.
Yeah. I recently got into, like, coloring. My mom got me, like, this really nice set of markers, and I have, like, these cute animal coloring books and stuff, and it's been a lot of fun, a good way to relax. And
Do you listen to music while you're coloring, or is it
I
silent?
either
Just stare directly at the page.
I'll listen to a podcast or I'll
Okay.
turn on like a YouTube video or something like that and watch
Passively
TV.
watch,
Yeah.
I have some friends that it helps them focus.
Yeah.
There are some friends that go to our church that will literally color during sermons. 'Cause it
That's what
helps
my
them
mom does. Yeah.
So yeah,
It
that's
helps
a real
her
thing.
focus.
It helps
Yeah.
people focus, and yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever gets you there.
Our final topic today is a religion news article titled Funding SNAP. Even religious leaders are divided over how best to provide for the poor. The month-long government shutdown has paused the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, which serves roughly 1 in 8 Americans as the nation's largest nutrition assistance program. SNAP provides critical support to low-income households, seniors, people with disabilities, and families with children, acting as the government's primary safety net. The debate over SNAP funding has divided religious leaders and policymakers along both theological and practical lines. Many faith leaders cite Bible passages from Matthew, Isaiah, Proverbs, and Deuteronomy that emphasize caring for the hungry and vulnerable as moral imperatives for maintaining public assistance programs. However, other religious voices stress the importance of voluntary giving and local charity, pointing to scriptures like Luke and Acts that encourage direct personal generosity and suggest that churches and community organizations should play a larger role in addressing poverty. Critics of SNAP argue that reforms are necessary for long-term fiscal health and that programs should encourage workforce participation and self-sufficiency rather than dependency. Yet those working on the front lines of food distribution counter that private charity cannot match the scale, consistency, and efficiency of a nationwide government program. With church pantries and food banks already operating at capacity, even when SNAP is fully funded, experts warn that significant cuts could lead to increased healthcare costs, poorer educational outcomes for children, and greater strain on other social services. So I've heard that with the government shutdown ending, SNAP has started to send out payments again. So this is at the end of it. But what did you guys think about this discussion from both sides?
I just want everybody to have food.
Yeah.
Like that's like
yeah.
there's different thinking like in a crisis versus like, long-term thinking. And when you have people that are expecting something and that have been relying on something and just ripped away from them, then there is a crisis in that moment.
Yes.
And we don't need to talk about the long, we just need to like make sure kids have food and babies have milk. And it kind of like is a frustrating conversation when we make it to
There's a time.
esoteric and like up in the clouds. Like we can talk about that later, but like right now, there are people that are depending on this that had it last month that don't have anything now, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I think you can build arguments from wherever you want to in the scriptures, and try to paint the narrative however you want to. I personally think that a person of faith should do everything that they possibly can to make sure that their neighbor is taken care of, whether that be themselves helping, and also we are the government, we are people and citizens that pay taxes, and it goes into this as well. And so it's kind of a frustrating conversation. We make it to like, well, this Bible verse says that and this Bible verse says that, when it's like, okay, what are we doing as individuals and collective to make sure that these things don't happen so that people just have enough?
Yeah.
But the other reality is like, I think it's almost 40% of every person in America that receives SNAP benefits are working.
Yeah.
So like you're talking about a sizable amount of people that are working, the working poor. They're not just sitting, there's this narrative sometimes.
The other percentage is children.
Yeah, that's very, very true. So it's just like there's this narrative I think sometimes gets perpetuated that there are people that are just sitting around and they're just like milking the government and these subsidies. And every time there's any kind of system of anything, you'll find people that do, use the system to their advantage. But this is not the most people. And there's a ton of people working. And like Kenton said, a ton of them that are children that can't work. And it is a cruel reality to just rip something away because of a political fight that people were counting on the month before. So that's my initial take.
Yeah, I think, there's a time and place to have these discussions. And then there's a whole other discussion we can have on why both sides of this argument in government choose not to have those discussions when they matter. But like, you can't have a discussion on the effectiveness of SNAP while there are literally families desperate for the money that they already should have.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can't discuss it now. You can't take something away and then go, okay, let's discuss it now.
Because it was part of their budget, and then suddenly, gone.
You just can't do that. And like Joel said, the percentage of workers or people working or actively trying to pursue work versus the percentage of SNAP individuals or people who receive SNAP that are children or in large families that desperately need that to cover. It's just you can't make those decisions when the house is literally on fire.
Yeah, there's a difference between crisis, and then there's a difference between like evaluating things to make sure that we're not wasting money, and you can have those conversations, but not when the house is on fire.
Yeah. The government is horrible at starting a program and then reevaluating it, however long. They're just horrible at that. So sometimes things happen. There's probably parts of SNAP that do need adjustment, potentially. I don't know, but like, when you take people's money away that are desperately in need of it, there's a reason these individuals are on SNAP. You just can't then hold that over their heads or hold that over the other side's head. At the end of the day, I mean, as a Christian, like, I want to, help people that are in need, that are marginalized, that are struggling. And, if your idea is that you're on SNAP for a little bit while you, get your feet set and then you grow into not needed it anymore, that's wonderful. You could turn around and repay the favor. But I mean, my money's already gone to it, by paying taxes and all of those kinds of things. So like, what are you doing with my money that I already gave to this program that I know exists anyway is also a whole other side of the discussion.
I mean, it is a wild thing too, to think about the amount of Americans that are receiving these benefits, to think 1 out of every 8 Americans, like, this is not some small group of people. Like, these are our neighbors and our friends, and it's a lot of people that are working. Yeah, a lot of people that are trying, and if any way we can come alongside and alleviate some of that suffering and to help them into the future is necessary. Yeah.
So as a church, we were able to help a handful of people that lost their SNAP benefits temporarily. But as individuals, how should people be responding? Or how can they help?
Give to your local church. I say that as I think one of the reasons churches don't get taxed. I could go on a long thing about this, but one of the reasons that churches don't pay property taxes, even though we have large properties, is because we are supposed to be providing social benefit to our community. And I think that we should be taxed as Bridgeway Church if we could not prove that we're adding social benefit to our community. And as we are trying to be an outpost of God's kingdom for the least and the last and those that are hurting and suffering, like, we should do that. And I think churches should have resources that they give for crises like this to do something about it. So I do think, being a part of a local church that's not just talking about it or not just making political statements about it, but doing something about it, that's one way. Yeah. And I can say that because that's the kind of church that we want to be. But beyond that, I think it is like just recognizing, that 1 out of every 8. So who do you know that might be struggling, or who has talked about this in a way that they're struggling? And gosh, a gift card goes a long way. Invite over for meals, or buying some snacks for the kids, or whatever that looks like. Or if somebody's posting about it, like, send the link that's gone around of like the food pantries and the available resources that are around. But I mean, if where you see it, do something about it. Don't just go, oh, bless their heart. Maybe God wants you to bless their tummies. You know what I mean? Like, give them some food. Like, I think there's the danger, is that we can just be like, isn't this terrible that our government did this? And then we don't do anything personally to get our hands dirty. And so I think, like, just taking responsibility for each other to say that we are our brother's keeper. I think that's my second thing. Give to your local church, and give to a local church that makes a difference in the community. But beyond that, when you see something, do something about it. Yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode of Atypical Talk. If you have any topics or questions you'd like us to talk about, you can email those to atypicaltalkpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at atypicaltalkpod, and make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to get updates when new episodes go live. We hope that these conversations today have helped you think wider, love deeper, and partner with God to bring the up there, down here in your everyday life. Thanks for listening.